Am I the asshole for telling my girlfriend her cultural food is gross? So my girlfriend is 28 and she is from Pakistani, and I am a 31-year-old white man. We have been together for 3 years but live separately. My lease just ended, and my new place isn't ready yet, so I asked my girlfriend if I could move in with her. I told her I can't pay rent or for groceries since my new apartment's rent is higher than what I was paying at my old place, so I need to save. She was hesitant, but agreed eventually since I have nowhere else to go. I work from home and she works a demanding job from the office. She is a social worker and has been experiencing burnout, apparently. She always tells me how exhausted she is, but won't find another job. Usually I can manage to cook with whatever ingredients she has. It annoys me that we can't eat the same thing. But I'm not a fan of her cultural foods since they smell and taste strong. A lot of times she doesn't want to cook much after coming home from work, so she eats leftovers or random scraps, stuff like rice with yogurt, tomatoes and cucumbers, or naan bread with dips and frozen kebabs. When she does cook for herself, it'll be some rice with onions and spices, and no meat, unless she has frozen kebabs or frozen food her parents give her. Yesterday she came home from work and burst into tears because a client physically attacked her. She said she's not going to work for a couple of days. I told her to just leave that job, but she gave me a glare and went away. She was a mess while cooking, and ended up messing up her food. The rice was too mushy and had too much yellow stuff in it, and she had nothing else to eat with it except yogurt, so she just ate that. I felt like I had enough, so told her about her unhealthy food habits. I told her she needed more protein and she barely eats meat. I also told her to get a grip on her life because how can she be okay with eating some mushy, gross food? She was furious and started crying. She asked me to get out of her house. I refused, so she began screaming like a mad woman and physically pushed me towards the door. She said I had 10 minutes to get all my stuff. She said she hated that I was so rude and inconsiderate to her while she was mentally struggling and suffering at her job. I reminded her that I always told her to leave her job, so it's not my fault she didn't listen to me. She said she had no idea I was such a jerk during the last 3 years and I was also racist. I told her it is not racist to point out the flaws and truths about someone's cultural food. She was even angrier and threatened to call the cops if I don't leave. I left and went to my mom's house, which I hate because my mom is annoying. Girlfriend won't answer my calls, and I hate that I am forced to live with my mom because of something so stupid. I don't think I did anything wrong by looking out for my girlfriend. So am I the asshole?
Comments. I wish there were a way to put visual warnings on some people so no one had to be traumatized while learning of their dysfunction. Another comment says, social work is a career people go into because they're passionate about it, not something they do just for a paycheck. Telling his ex-girlfriend to just get another job shows how little he knows or cares about her work. And another comment says, oh my god, this is assholery on an elite level. Fellow social worker here on the brink of burnout, but too emotionally attached to the work. I couldn't even fathom having to go home after such a rough day to this mess.
6 years ago, I swapped my then girlfriend, now wife's cat, with a more well-behaved look-alike. She had an all-black cat that was extremely aggressive. It scratched everyone, hissed at everyone, and didn't use its litter box half the time. My wife insisted she could get it to behave better. One week, she went out of town to visit her family, and I was supposed to go to her apartment and feed it. The first night I went over, it scratched the shit out of my arm. I joked to the cat that it's not special and I'll replace it if it scratches again. The joke stuck with me until I had thought about it enough that it wasn't a joke. The next morning I went to the local animal shelter, found an identical cat who was already litter box trained and acclimated to people, but was a little skittish. Its old owner died of a heart attack, and the animal shelter people said they think that's why it was skittish. But overall, it was a lot friendlier and better behaved, and the skittishness would help it resemble the original cat. So I adopted it, took it to my wife's apartment, settled it in, then drove her original cat to an animal shelter a town over. I was paranoid my wife would find out if I took it to a local one. It's been 6 years since then. We got married 4 years ago. We still have the swapped cat. It answers to the original cat's name. My wife knows nothing. She loves this cat and brags about how much better behaved it is. Every time I see it, I feel like a total piece of shit.
Am I the asshole because I ate more than my share of a 6-foot party sub last night? What I thought would be a total non-issue has ballooned into a huge problem, and I'm up at 7:05 a.m. dealing with it. I figured while I wait for a text, I could post here to see if what I did was really that bad. I'm a big fat ass, there's no way around it. I love to eat, which probably borders on addiction, but I figure since I'm only hurting myself, it's probably better to just live my life. I have some great friends, although there's no doubt I'm the harmless, funny token fat guy of the otherwise pretty good-looking group. I guess that sets the stage enough. Last night, my friend hosted UFC and I was invited. He got a 6-foot party sub. I also brought homemade wings that are sort of my specialty. Well, of course, people flocked to the food and I had basically one serving of the sandwich, but people devoured my wings and I didn't get to have a single one. Which is totally fine, that's why I brought them, but maybe an hour later I was starving. I kept eyeing the sandwich and I'd say there was about 3 feet of it left. I waited an hour, then another half hour and no one had touched it, but they were still munching on chips, pretzels, and whatnot. So I was like, screw it. I took about half of what was left and ate it. Then the last half sat for another 10 to 15 minutes and no one said anything, so ate the rest. Well, to be sure, as I was swallowing the last bite, the host's girlfriend asked where the sandwich was. Like I was the guilty party, pretty much everyone pointed at me. I guess they'd noticed me eating the sandwich. She was furious and said that I was an incredible pig and that I had been super selfish to eat 3 feet of a sandwich. I felt so bad I tried to explain to her that I really did wait over an hour and thought people had lost interest. I also tried to explain how everyone had ate my wings, and she said something along the lines of, "You brought them to share, Alan. If someone had eaten over half by themselves, that's not fucking sharing, is it?" I offered to order pizza or even go get Subways, and she said that it was a pathetic offer because the party sub had been from a local shop owned by her friends. I said I was sorry, but the night was so tense from then on out. I woke up this morning to several texts from my twin sisters, the host's girlfriend's best friends, saying that I had to get my shit under control and that everyone is really mad at me and that I embarrassed myself last night. I tried to explain to them what my mindset had been and they haven't responded. Was I the asshole for eating that much of the sandwich last night?
Comments. You have to have a serious problem if you don't think there's a problem with eating 3 feet of anything. That isn't even your own food. That's stomach-tearing amounts of food. And to even suggest getting more food after that is just alarming. Another comment says,
I agree with this. I eat a ton of food, but if I'm going to a party or anything that's social, I'll just have a lot of water and eat something at home so when I get there. I'm semi-full, but still polite enough to eat something there as well. And another comment says,
if he could eat 30 inches of sub within the space of 90 minutes and still be hungry 15 minutes later, eating at home would not help at all.